Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the day and the hour that you are tune in to this broadcast. My name is Minister Camie. It is a pleasure to be with you today to enter your home. I enter your home with peace, joy, happiness, shalom, shalom. It is the day that the Lord has made. We rejoice always and be glad in it. Today I bring peace to you. I bring joy to your home. And today we want to commend let me just back up. You know how every day you get at your house, some of us get at our house mad, frustrated, depend on how you're feeling, depend on the day. But the Bible says goodness and mercy follow us all the days of our lives. So what I'm going to ask you to do for me from now on, since we are in 2024, we have to be purposeful in everything we do. Before you get at your house, one thing I want you to do: come in mercy to walk after you. Come in peace to walk after you. Why? Because the Bible says goodness, mercy follow you all the days of your life. So whatever it is that you may be feeling at the hour, the time that you're getting at your house, let me tell you, if you commend your day to be good, your day will be good. If you allow yourself to walk out of the house and you don't commend the day to be good, then you're just going to have a bad day. But listen, if we are going to be purposeful this year in everything we do, we need to ask God to go before us. Yeah. Well, with that said, I am happy to be with you again. Before we go into what we're here for, I have a special guest with me this morning. Well, this evening or this afternoon, again, depending on the day and the hour you're listening to the broadcast. She is, an incredible woman. Before we go into our break, I'm just going to have her say hello to you. And then when we get back, we will enter into everything we have here for you today. Dr. Camie, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm glad that I'm able to use your platform to represent my community. With the profession and the gift that God has given me as a provider of mental health and also other areas of medicine. I have a doctorate in psychiatry, psychiatric nurse practitioner.
Okay.
And we will talk more. She's going to go on a break, and I'll be able to tell you more about myself.
Alrighty. So we will be back with Dr. Camie. As we said, we're going to go to the break. So please, what we want you to do for us is to like, subscribe, and share as much as you can, because we want to hear your feedback. If we're doing something that you don't like, we would like to hear about it. If you want something more in the show, we would like to hear about it. Again, we will be right back at a break.
To love is to protect. The ones you love, with whom you laugh every morning, who are there to listen to you and wipe your tears in the most difficult moments, are your companions forever. The reason to live harder every day. Have you thought about how to protect them and protect yourself when one is missing? We know the most important thing is your family's peace of mind. That's why at Assure for Life, we have designed plans to provide you with assistance, guidance, and protection from the loss of a loved one. All it takes is a phone call, and Assure for Life will take care of the funeral expenses and manage the funeral arrangements for you and any of your members, so you and your family can dedicate this time to honor and celebrate the life of your loved one. Over the last 70 years, we have been there for more than 250,000 families in the United States, Latin America, and the Caribbean in the moments they have needed us the most. Our funeral assistance plans can protect up to 7 people, regardless of your relationship, in a safe and affordable way. Our services include funeral services in the coverage areas, transfer of the deceased to a local funeral home, cemetery or crematorium within the United States, transfer of the deceased to the country of origin in the coverage area, airline ticket for the plan holder to attend the service of his or her loved one. Our funeral network allows us to cover every city and country in the coverage area, providing an excellent service. We have thought through every detail because we want to give you the security and peace of mind that you need, protecting your family with a beautiful gesture of love.
All right, so we are back from our break. Again, as I was saying earlier, for those of you, if you just tune in, it is a privilege to enter your home, whether if you are in Tampa, Miami, Orlando, wherever you are, we want to say shalom, shalom. Again, today we have a special guest with us, Dr. Jimmy. When I tell you this girl, she's on it. She is amazing, so accomplished, and she have an incredible story for you. You are in for a treat. So we're gonna just give her the platform to tell you a bit more about all her accomplishment and tell you what she's doing in the community. Dr. Jimmy, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Miss Camie, Minister Camie. Thank you so much for having me again. So about 4 or 5 years ago in 2019, I was working as a family nurse practitioner while getting my doctorate from the University of Miami as a psychiatric nurse practitioner, as well as getting my doctorate in advanced nursing practice. And while I was working, I realized how many people couldn't have access to mental health, and that has been a very important passion of mine because I realized the brain is what carries us through the day, and that is the most neglected organ in the body. And so I decided to pursue my doctorate. And I always told God that after that stint of working with, I call it a stint because, you know, I would vacillate back and forth between research and family practice, and I also did some cardiology with a cardiac electrophysiologist. So I'm kind of like well-rounded and working with multiple various patients. But I also said to God, like, look, I have my own values. I have my own ethical beliefs.
That's right.
And I wanted to do something that I would be at the helm of, to not only give you glory, because I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian
All
since
right,
I
girl.
was, you know, a teen. And I wanted to show people that you could also be a Christian and be receptive to everybody and
That's
help
right.
everyone, and also impart that that the gift that God has given you in whatever profession you may have.
That's right.
Mental health is important because a lot of people have all kinds of issues. The number one issue they may have is questioning their identity, their Christianity, their values, their beliefs. And sometimes they just need someone to talk to just get them go through life.
Right.
And so it was important to me that when I have my own practice, that I incorporate everything that I am. You know, my Christianity, my faith, my values, my beliefs, and as well as, you know, the environment that I work in and what I'm going to bring to society and my community. Also, because mental health sometimes is just thought of as something that they, you know, that's not usually welcome, because people stigmatize. People always think that you know, we just give medications and move on.
Right.
But I wanted my patients to feel like somebody understood them, somebody would listen to them and cooperate with them to arrive at the best treatment plan for them.
Okay.
And it's not always just medications or, you know.
We will enter to that.
Yeah, but it's always like, you know, you could come and discuss and find out, do I need this? What do I need? And also discuss anything.
Right.
There are times where people would just be very anxious about what's going on in the political arena, and they're just like, I am this and I'm that, and I don't know, you know, I have a problem with people who are questioning why I believe in such a thing in politics, for example. Like, people come and discuss all kinds of stuff.
Right, right.
But I wanted, when I left this person, and for reasons that I cannot go into, but I was happy to leave my former job at the time, and I was like, because of what happened, I really do not want to work for anyone else anymore, because I want to be able that I can trust and work with honesty, and know that I'm going to do everything ethically and also treat people well, and and be an asset for the community.
Okay.
So that's why I ended up doing mental health.
Okay.
And something that I incorporate in my life. I'm a holistic person. I like to, I usually say I like to eat my medicine, my food as medicine, because I like to exercise, I like to pray, I like to meditate, I like everything that's whole and healthy. And so that's what I incorporate in my life, and it also in the life of my patients.
Okay. So if someone were to say, okay, now that you said you're mental health, what distinguishes you from everybody else that is in that same field?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that question because that's the number one reason why I'm in that field. When I was training, not that I want to talk bad about my colleagues, but a lot of us are trained to just see like 25 to 30, 35 patients. They're all meeting a quota for the day, and they maybe like have 5-10 minutes. And a lot of times, it's like, here's a medication, and I will see these people coming, and they will be like, even though like the provider themselves would like to try to just incorporate some kind of psychotherapy or something, it's impossible because they're working for an organization and they have a quota and they have to meet. And some of these patients were not working, they were on disability, you could tell they were out of shape, and I always felt like, how could you feel mentally healthy when physically you feel uncomfortable,
Right.
And the medications were causing side effects, but it was always like, these are the guidelines, this is what you take. For example, if you have a mood disorder, you're going to get all these psychotic medications, antipsychotic medications, and then you're going to gain weight. And some of them, they're like, but it's not working, I'm still paranoid, I'm still delusional, I'm still that, but I'm just going to keep coming and getting my meds. I wanted to change that. I wanted to make sure that my patients could work. I wanted to make sure my patients were functioning, not just existing. I wanted them to enjoy life. And I'm glad to say, like, most of my patients, some of them came to me a couple of years ago. I was just talking to a lady the other day. She came to me a couple of years ago, and she was like, I don't think anybody would hire me, And not that I don't want to get into her private diagnosis or anything, which would be a violation of her privacy.
Right.
But I said, you know what, under my care, if you work with me, with my recommendations, I want you to be able to work. I want you to be able to function. I want you to be able to date. I've had people saying that I'm asexual, I don't want to date, I don't think anybody would like me. And now they're dating, some of them are married, some of them are working. I have young people who just finished college and they were, affected by a mental illness. Maybe it was hidden somewhere, underlying somewhere, and they didn't know about it. But when they started seeing me, some of them were just started working just at the height of their lives, and they discovered that they had something. It could have been caused by any type of stressor. And now they're like finding themselves not being able to work, not being able to function in society. And when they meet with me, I'm like, look, my goal for you is to be able to, work on the gift that God gave you, which is the profession that you went to school for. And some of them are now working. And I'm not talking about like, fulfilling their profession and going to work at like some random thing. They're working their profession, they're practicing, they're getting promotion. But I wanted to not only incorporate medication, but it's a lifestyle. I approach everything at what we call the biopsychosocial aspect or modality or method, because we want to know first, like, what's the origin of your problem? Is it biological? Is it from your psychosocial environment? Is it a stressor? So that I can help this person, figure out what caused the problem in the first place. Okay. And what are your resources? What are your solutions? And do you need medications, or do you need to have therapy, or do you need to have a combination of the two?
Okay, so how would, let me back up. Describe for me your relationship with your former colleague. How do you think they would describe you?
Well, I have so many of them, but if you're talking about my former medical directors, this is what they've told me. I'm not bragging. It's not, I'm not trying to put my own horn. But they will call me brilliant, intelligent, but
of course,
like realistic and practical and all of that, And I'm proud to say that this is one thing I learned, and it was from an actor. I think he was saying that. His name is Jeremy Piven. And he said one day that it's important that you leave every single relationship on a good term.
That's right.
You try to do
I
your
agree.
best to leave every single relationship on a good term, even though it didn't work out, even though you're not going to talk anymore. But every single one of my former bosses I can call right now, I can text right now.
That's important.
I think that, if we had a disagreement, we were able to kind of like, work through it and talk about it. And although I haven't called some of them in a while, but if I want to text them right now, ask them questions or ask them how they are or whatever, I can.
Okay.
So my former colleagues will tell you that I am very strict and firm. Anybody who say anything bad is somebody possibly who didn't get me. But most people who get me and understand who I am as a person will tell you that I am pretty easy to talk to, pretty resourceful. And as a matter of fact, a lot of my former colleagues who decided to enter psychiatry are now coming to my practice.
That's awesome.
For training. And I remain very close to every single group of people I was friends with at any job. I have friends from New York for like over so many years that I consider my good friends. And I have a group that I meet with for dinner, lunch, whatever, from any hospital that I've worked in. So I have a friend or some connection to any other place that I've worked at. So this is to tell you that, that I make pretty good connection. I don't have a whole lot of best friends, but the group of people that I have, they're pretty solid, and they're my friends that I've been friends with for most of my life.
Awesome. So another question, can you tell me about your ability to work under pressure?
Oh my God. Again, I always say one of the things that I like, one of the gifts that I like that God gave me is resilience. Because I guess I had to learn, because I was in New York as a young girl going to college, and my mom was like, look, you are the firstborn, but I have several other children, so if you decide to stay in New York to go to college, you're going to be most likely on your own. If you decide to come back here in Florida, we will help you out. So I had so many credits, so that I'm staying in New York, and I have friends doing everything. So I always tell my patients, this too shall pass.
That's right.
Because if I can sit here and talk to you about, don't lose hope, be strong, and, be resilient, and tomorrow is another day, it's because I literally tell them I have gone through everything except for psychosis, So I know what it feels like when you're like, oh my God, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if I'm gonna pay my rent. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pay for my car. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to eat, and all of those things. And now I'm like so many years later, I'm glad I didn't give up.
That's right.
But I also use a lot of the, I also went to a church where you kind of manifested things. That's what I learned. And they will tell you, like, I talk to God like I talk to a friend, like, this is what you just said to me in the Bible. So when I tell my mom, I do not pray for God to give me food and shelter, because he says the birds, they don't work, they don't sow, but they have shelter and they have food. So I just ask God for guidance. And if I'm going through a challenging time, I just ask God to help me. And sometimes I just surrender. When I don't have a solution to a situation, when it's a difficult situation, especially if people are involved, because you're going to find people who are going to go out of their way to make your life difficult. And, and I always ask God. And I always say, I at one point, because I listen to also my fellow humans on earth, sometimes it'll just be that one thing that person says. That I just quoted Jeremy Piven, right? There was one, I can't remember the pastor's name, but I came across and I'm like, God, should I move on? Should I continue? What should I do? How do you know when to continue to do something? And he says, if you are doing something and you continue to have opportunities while you're knocking on doors, that means you should continue. But if you encounter blocks after blocks after blocks after blocks,
and the Lord trying to tell you something,
it may be that the Lord is saying, like, look, stop. This is not the time yet, or wait a minute, reevaluate. So I just keep going when I have opportunities.
That's awesome.
And if I don't have opportunities, I go back to the drawing board.
Okay, awesome.
You know?
So now, next question: how do you respond to a client who refuses to take their medication
Well,
or their treatment, I should say?
I've had many of these patients, especially now that marijuana, for example, has been legalized. A lot of patients are saying, well, when I take marijuana, I sleep better or I feel more relaxed. But I'm like, let me ask you one question. So why are you here? If it's so great and you're feeling good, why are you here? Well, I just have a little anxiety here and there. Or I'm like, because whatever you're doing is short term. I want to give you a long term answer. Okay? I want to give you like more, like stronger coping skills. So usually people don't take their medications, I realize, because they don't know why they're taking the medications. Because maybe the provider doesn't have time to really go over everything. Maybe they are skeptical because there's a lot of stigma. But I feel like I have very few people who have not been compliant. Because the plan is developed with you, with your cooperation. I don't give you anything you don't want to take or you have doubts about. Before you leave my office, whatever treatment plan that we put together is something that we both agreed on.
Okay.
If you're telling me, well, you can order it, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to order it, because what's the point? So there are times where they will be like, I'm so afraid of the medications because I Googled it and, that's what they said, somebody died on it or whatever. But I'm like, listen, every single medications have side effects. And side effects are possibilities. They don't have to happen to you. And I said to them, I had to learn that myself, because I had to, every single job that God has given me, has taught me, has prepared me for this position. Because I did work in research. Before I worked in clinical research, every single study or research study I heard about, I'm like, they want to use us as guinea pigs, right? But
Guinea pig, they're good at that too.
Yeah, that's what they said. Oh, you guys all just want to give meds, you don't want to do anything and whatnot. And especially when they go to my website, they also like say, oh, I thought you said you would take into consideration our cultural differences and what we do, and you were holistic. I said, I am holistic. But there are times where your brain needs more than vitamins. You may need medications, but I also encourage the vitamins that are good for the brain. So, having said that, it's like in clinical research, they are so detailed with the preparation and learning to know what the drug might or might not do for the patients, that, every single thing that a person experiences while they're taking the medications is documented. They can be like in Japan or Korea, wherever they're doing the study before they put the drug out. It's like, with the vaccine. When they put the vaccine out, they had to study it, and they studied it all over the world. So even if a person has a hangnail on the medication, the sub-investigator or the investigator of the research study will get this report. So if there are common things that usually happen with the medication, they let you know. That doesn't mean that you're absolutely going to have that. There are common side effects, there are serious side effects. Now, of course, we have to monitor you. That's why we have to start low and go slow. We don't rapidly go to the maximum of medications, okay? We have guidelines that we're supposed to follow. And that's what I tell the patients. I sit down with them and explain to them. First, I explain to them what's happening with their brain. This is why you feel the way you feel, okay? That's what's happening. And these are the recommendations, the guidelines that they usually recommend for us to follow. And those are the medications, all the possibilities of things that you can use. And I also incorporate lifestyle, And usually I'm pretty successful at helping somebody arrive at the right decision for themselves. Awesome. But I'm going to have the occasional few patients who are like, look, I'm going to hold off for now, and if I feel bad, I'll come back. And sometimes they come back after they make an informed decision based on what's presented to them.
Okay. So would you say, what experience do you have with clients that struggle with very severe very severe mental issue. What experience do you have with
Well,
them?
those are my patients, you know. So a lot of times, what I think has really been helpful is we have, like in my practice, I have a test that I do. You will find a lot of psychiatrists, like physicians, psychiatrists, nurse practitioners, who are, you know, a little bit reluctant to use this test. But me, I go by evidence, because remember, one of my background experiences are, you know, experiences research. So I go by the evidence. You know, if a test has been researched and it's evidence-based, and that they say that it's been helpful at determining which medication is best for you, I'm gonna do it. Whatever it is that it's been evidence, that's been researched, and I can show that it's not a fluke, I'm gonna use it. So I do. If you're saying that somebody's been experiencing severe mental illness, so I'm assuming that this person has probably gone to see so many people. They've tried so many medications before, and now they're like despairing.
Right.
But if you actually, sometimes, like, if you do a review of all the medications they've tried and what kind of side effects they have experienced and why did they stop, you know, most of them stopped because they didn't understand and they didn't give it enough time, or they were like, you know, I'm gonna have a problem with this medication. But the test is like a saliva test, and it tells us, like, you know, the enzyme that your body uses to break down medications. Those enzymes are studied to see in your body how would your body respond. Would you have side effects? And they will study all the enzymes that break down, for example, all the antidepressants, all the mood stabilizers, all the antipsychotics. So, and then they present the results, and they're like, okay, if you take it, you're gonna have some side effects, but you can mitigate it by lowering the dose or increasing the dose. Or you could take all the medications that are under the green light, so you can, you know, any antidepressant from that area you can take. And I think that sometimes, like, helps people to, like, be okay. I have other kinds of patients who have been severely mentally ill. They are sitting at home. They don't want to come to the hospital, or they don't want to come see a provider like me, you know. And I've had a few where I tell the family, just put them on the phone and I'll talk to them. And I don't know if I was telling you that yesterday. There was one gentleman, he was in that situation. He was like, I don't want to go see anyone, because for the past year, all he was doing is remote visit, 5 minutes, and they're like, okay, here's your prescription at the pharmacy, go get it. And but with me, I said to the mother, put him on the phone, you know. And especially in the Haitian community, there's a lot of, like, he said this and she said that, and she said not to give him meds or not to give her meds, and, you know, there's a lot of hesitation. But I'm also finding out it's not just the Haitian community, it's all races, it's all mothers, it's all fathers who are like, I don't want to put my kid on medications, I don't want to do that. But when they get to a point where that person is so severe and they need help, and that person refuses to leave the house, and I am pretty guided, so sometimes I will be like, okay, God, tell me what to do. And I said to this gentleman, I said to the mother, please put him on the phone. And he didn't say one thing. I said, I want you to come talk to me. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to push anything on you. I just want to hear your story. I want to hear what's happening with you. And I want you to talk to me about what's going on with you and how you would like, what would you like to see done for you to make you feel better. And we can arrive at a solution. And I said, I'm giving you an appointment at 4, but you have to come at 3:30. You don't have to answer me now, but I guess if I see you in the office, I'll know that you're willing to partner with me. And once you get into this office, we're gonna have to accept to work with me. And 3:30, he showed up with his mom and dad. And I'm glad to say now he's doing way much better.
That's awesome.
Way much better, like doing his thing, you know. And those are the things that I do, you know, because mental health is such an important thing. If we don't treat our people with mental health disabilities, we're not going to be a good society because people make decisions with their brain.
Absolutely.
If they have a faulty brain or a brain that's unmanaged, or they have a condition that's not managed, we are going to be in trouble. It's going to impact not only at the house level, at the home level, but also in society.
Right,
you know, they're
right.
going to go to work and they're going to be impaired. They're going to make bad decisions. They're going to be impulsive. You know, because once you don't have like balanced chemicals, that's what happens.
And that was gonna be basically my my other question to you, like how important or how serious is mental health in our community, and what help there is there for them, because we have parents that are dealing with kids that are, you know, that have really severe, you know, mental issue where to the point they can't even, you know, control that kid, and sometimes they feel like they don't have that help to control that kid. I mean, what would you say to a parent that have either a kid or, you know, a grown adult? Because I know about 20% adult now are dealing with a mental health issue.
It's probably more. I'm like, listen, I feel like every day of our lives, each one of us probably dealing with some sort of mental health problems, okay? It could be a sudden anxiety, like you're interviewing me. Maybe I could be like, you know, if I wasn't used to doing those things, I could be nervous and anxious.
Right.
But if I'm panicking, that's like a whole level different of anxiety.
Anxiety.
But there are people who live like that. You know, they live in fight or flight situations all the time. And there are kids who don't know what to do. They are literally crying out for help, you know, by isolating, by not talking to you, or by having conduct behaviors, by being impulsive. And, you know, and the parent, you know, sometimes they would be like, oh, you know, if it's a boy, boy will be boys, or maybe they're a teenager. Well, just because you have a teenager doesn't mean that they have to isolate. They don't have to spend, if you see a child constantly inside a room with a gadget and not paying attention to you, not interacting with family members, or they don't have friends outside, or they don't have any interests, or, you know, they're not doing well in school. Sometimes they're like literally crying out for help, and we're just saying, you know, and somehow, especially in our community, you know, Black community, Haitian community, you know, they're always saying like, you know, it's just because they're like, they don't listen. Oh, they just need discipline.
Yeah, but it's something
You know,
that we never like to talk about
they
anyway.
don't talk about it, but the brain is an organ, okay? Just like your heart needs blood, it needs proper chemicals to function.
Right.
And what people don't understand is that the brain is what the whole body uses. It regulates everything, okay? When you don't have good executive function, you're gonna be very impulsive.
Right.
You're gonna have conduct behaviors. You're gonna be failing at school, not being a productive member of society. But what I would tell parents is like, you know what? Get the child evaluated, okay? And another thing that parents worry about a lot is that record. We're gonna put a record on my child's, you know.
I mean, it's better to
whatever.
have the record and make sure the kid is okay.
Yeah, but they will say things like that, like, you know, I don't want a record for my child, and I'm like, first of all, you don't have to go divulge your medical history to everybody. So I don't know how that child will have a record. And second of all, we have things in place that people should be following. Not a lot of universities and schools and follow it. And I'm telling you right now, people in America like to put things on paper, like because they want to, you know, fulfill the law and stuff like that. But they don't really act on what they're supposed to be doing. They make it hard for people to get accommodation. But, you know, sometimes with proper assessment, evaluation, again, not everybody deserves medication. There are times where I'm like, yes, this kid deserves medication. There are times where I'm like, you know, with therapy and lifestyle and certain things that I identify within the household, they can get better. Okay, or in the environment. Sometimes a child may be like bullied, maybe being bullied in school. Okay, and feel unappreciated, unpopular, and having this type of identity issue, you know, and just need to have the proper support. Somebody to listen, somebody to go to openly without being judged. You know, things like that. But I would say go and get the child assessed.
Yeah.
You know, don't be scared about the stigma or like whether or not they deserve
What
medication
people
or not.
think
What people
about,
think.
yeah, because, remember, mental health is something that the Black community never really liked to talk about. It's like, it was like a taboo conversation, and now I think it's coming out more. So that's why I think it's imperative that people do pay attention to their kids, like you were saying, like, to make sure when they see their kids doing some type of behavior, even grown adult, the way we act at time, we tend to just...
Yeah. Well, we have to be more engaged with our kids. We have to be more engaged with people in our environment, with our families. We have to communicate with our children, make sure that we check in every once in a while about each other's needs, because then people will feel, everybody just wants to be acknowledged and valued and understood and accepted. So I don't care what culture you're from, what nationality you are, that's all you need. So that alone, just like giving them a forum to come and open, session to speak about what they're going through, and finding about how they're in school, do they have friends making fun of them, what incident happened, make it okay for them to come to you. If they have serious questions about dating, boyfriend, identity, whatever it is, don't be their judge, just be the person that they can go to. Because there are many, I always tell my kids, there are many people in the world outside already who can hate you. But we're supposed to be loving to each other here in this house, because, I want you to come to me. I don't want to like not see things happen and then later on I regret missing out on things. And, when I was in school, I realized, like, thank God, by the grace of God, I was able to identify certain things and like try to incorporate more time for my kids, because it's very hard to like be involved in working, we're spending our time, we're devoting our time to like everybody else. We have people who literally don't sleep, they go to the church, they're ushered, they're like, and all kinds of activities, and their kids is being left alone at home. We have to make time. So I would create moments where I would date my kids. I'll be like, today is and I have 2 girls. I'll be like, this is your time. We have a couple of hours together. It's not about quantity, it's about quality.
Right,
and
right.
You can do whatever you want. And sometimes they'll be like, let's go get some pizza, and they talk to me about everything, their friends, what's bothering them. Or they can just be like, let's go do our nails and stuff like that. So I mitigated not having enough time by creating times that I intentionally dedicated towards them.
Okay. So my last question to you, it's for you. Tell me about an area of your life where you knew better and are finally doing better. And another question, that's 2 questions in one. Basically, I'm going to repeat it. Tell me about an area of your life where you knew better and now finally doing better. Then tell me about an area of your life where you still think that you need to do better.
Oh, where I knew better and finally doing better. I think I'm finally doing better I knew better about being grateful to my husband and my kids for all the things that they had to go through. And my husband for being like the person who makes sure I had a warm meal and make sure that I was cared for. And at some point, I just kind of like expected it, and I'll come home, and the food will be made, and I'll be like, "Oh, it's not on the plate," and I was shocked that he was like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna take it yourself," And I'm like, "Why would I? You've done that, for the past few years," and now I realized, like, oh, you know what? It's a nice, kind gesture to come home after a heavy day and have something to eat.
That's right.
So, and I'm also like trying to be more loving and spending more time with my family, because I would come home and I would immediately go to the computer to start catching up on things that I didn't catch up in the office. And I'm like, I don't want to steal it in the office. And I would come home and I would just be on the computer. I'm not good at it, but I try to also be off the phone when I enter the house. But I'm not so good at it because sometimes patients will call and I don't have a choice but to answer. But I've been trying not to answer my friend's phone call right like 5 minutes before I get into the home, because then they get me stuck into conversations, and I'm a talker, and the next thing I know, I'm ignoring everybody, and they're like, "You've been gone for 12 hours and we can't even say hi." And my kids will call me out on it. They'll be like, "We need to speak to you." Especially my young one. Stop. We need to speak to you now.
Aw.
You know? And I'm also glad that they are able to speak to me. So I'm not so good at the phone situation because I still, every once in a while, will spend an hour when I get home on the phone with somebody. I don't know why. I'm working on that. And I'm working extremely hard at listening because, like I said, I'm a talker and I also have bad ADHD, so I literally overtalk people all the time. And I'm trying not to dismiss people's concerns.
Okay.
And I'm like, being in my profession, you'd be like, that's something you do. But I have to make a conscious decision to stop talking so that I can listen.
All right.
And I also try to understand my kids and my husband's concern because usually I'm just like, they're talking and I'm talking. And the next thing I know, I'm like, and they're like, did you hear what I say? So now it's just listening I'm still working on.
All
Listening
right.
better.
Listening better.
Being present. Being present.
Well, that's good. Well, we basically, you hear everything that Dr. Jimmy had to say, and we're going to tell you more about where to basically get her service if you do need her service, because she is right there in the community and she's doing such an amazing job on helping not only our community but other community, other nation as well. So why not find out where she at, where she locate, so that when you do need her service that you can contact her. Dr. Jimmy.
Yeah, so my practice name is Logique Medical Care Services. I wanted to have the French flair in it because I'm Haitian. I'm from a Haitian background.
She Haitian, y'all.
I'm Haitian. Yeah, I'm Haitian. That's what this new musician, Ayo. I don't know if you know Ayo. That's Ayo, whatever.
Yeah, I hear that song.
Yeah.
I'm Haitian.
Yeah,
something.
so he's a cool musician. I think he's very talented. You should have him one day. You should ask him to come and talk about his
Definitely,
music.
for real.
He's very, very
Yeah,
talented.
we'll find him.
I just stumbled upon him and I'm like, I think he's from Port-de-Paix or something.
Yeah,
and
so yeah,
he's now, he came
definitely.
here young and he's doing music. He put some Creole and then
I'm
English mix.
Haitian. I
Yeah.
always hear that song.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, and he also has a music about Welcome to My Laku. Not the Laku part like the Tafa is talking about. He's talking about a Laku where there is joy and music and dancing and whatever. But anyway, so Logique Medical Care Services is the name of my practice, and I wanted to have all of our initials, my husband, myself, and my kids, and the name of the
that's so
business.
sweet.
So the logo comes out to be LMCS, Lafayette, Claude, Moriah, and Sheridan.
All right now. It's a family thing,
It's a
y'all.
family thing. And so it's in Boynton Beach.
Okay.
It's at 1325 South Congress Avenue, Suite 207, Boynton Beach, Florida. The telephone number is 561-336-4150. I have a diverse group of individuals working for me. My clientele, I'm not going to lie, is mostly Caucasian and other Hispanics and other races. I have very few Haitians and very few Black, but when I meet a Black person, they literally tell me, I chose you. Because I had to go look for someone who would understand my culture, who would get me. So, and I also have Haitians who says they would never take meds if it wasn't for me. And now they're doing well because they were being treated before and they had no idea why they were doing anything. So I welcome you and I want you to come over. I'm also collaborating with my sister currently. The name of her practice is First Care Therapy, and I hope that you can meet her one day and interview her.
We will get her.
She is incorporating a lot of the things that I aspire to do, is wellness, wholeness. So we are working together. I'm doing weight management. Remember, I also have a certification in family practice, so I can prescribe all the family practice medications and stuff and can take care of you and assess you also. So eventually, I saw on your card something about 5 years from now what I would do. I want to do an integrative thing where it's one-stop shop. You want to be assessed for your neurocognitive impairment problems, it will be there. You want a place to put your elderly person with mental health problems or anybody with mental health problems will be there. That's my goal for the future. But for now,
I didn't get to ask that question because
Yeah.
we're running out of time.
yeah,
so
but
she
we're
remember.
trying to integrate everything so that people are physically and mentally whole. Because I find that when most of my patients, when they have lost the weight and they're eating better, they're exercising, they're on less medications, they're taking care of themselves better.
That's awesome.
So we have a lot going on. If you want to come over, come over, call. If you want to just find out what we do so that you can know if this is the right place for you to come, you can come. We take all major insurances except for the weight management part. Some of it, most of it is cash, but like if we prescribe you medications that are covered by your insurance, you can also use that, or blood work. And then we have the fitness that's included. It's comprehensive. It's not just like, okay, I'll give you the injection or the medication and you move on with your life. It's in one stop shop, like, one building, you get all of the stuff that you need. And that's pretty much it. Just call us and come visit. And I intend to do like a meet and greet at some point to introduce all the stuff that I'm doing. I also have a lot of students from all kinds of major universities, Vanderbilt, FAU, you name it, University of Miami. Well, not so much more that, but other type of Nova, FIU. They all come, but and they all come and learn. And I'm also putting together classes, like a mentorship for people who want to start their own mental health practice or family practice businesses, and also all how to go about it, when to start. Me, I'm a woman of faith, so I started very humble. I just listen to God and I just let Him guide me. But there are people who, may have a different route, but we all arrive at the same goal. So.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, lady and gent, you see and hear everything from Dr. Jimmy herself. So if you need her service, as she said, she gives you her, actually give your number again, please.
The telephone number of the office is 561-336-4150.
Okay, so it is imperative to call her. All the stuff that she does, we need to go and just support everything she does, and you will be in again for a treat for everything else that she have coming up. So it was very much a privilege to come to your house to basically inform you about what mental health is all about, because we all, like you were saying, dealing with somewhat or some form of mental health issue, and it is imperative for us to take that to heart and deal with those problems with our kids, our family, whoever it is. Pay attention and see the mark, the sign for what they are, and then get help, because there is help out there for all of us. Again, it was Minister Camie with you today. Just know, if you need anyone to broadcast your business for you, Director Allen is who needs to call. His phone number is 561-255-3909. Again, Director Allen is there for, if you want radio air, he's there for you, or TV, again, he's there. So please call Director Allen. His number again is 561-255-3909. And of course, for Assured for Life, where you can cover 7 members of your family for only $70 a month. Please call to cover your family. It is very important to cover your loved one, because we don't want to wait till something happens, and then that's when we're going to say, oops, if I know. So please call 561-313-5979 for Assured for Life, so that you can cover your loved one. Again, it was a pleasure to be here with you today. Stay with the peace of God. Stay with the shalom of God. Do not allow anything or no one to take the peace that God gives to you, especially this year of 2024. It's important. You see, we have all kind in the field. God is calling you wherever you are, whatever field that you're working in. God is calling you there. Make sure you become a witness for the Lord, like Dr. Jimmy is doing in her practice. She used, who she is in Christ to heal, to bring peace to the patient that she is dealing with. So again, it was a pleasure. Stay with the peace of God. Be strong, be encouraged. Do not let anything steal your peace away from you. You have a last word to say, Dr. Jimmy?
I forgot to say the website. Thank you, everyone. Please check out the video. Check out her website. Subscribe. The website is lmcareservices.com. lmcareservices.com, so you can find out more things about us and what we are about and what we provide and everything else. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you. We will see you next time. Be blessed. Stay with the peace of God.